Good evening, Clayton. This is Carl from Baltimore, Maryland. I have a townhome that I have roughly 100K in equity that I would like to tap into to then purchase a single family as my next primary residence and keep my townhome as my first rental property. Yeah, I guess in your opinion, what financing method makes the most sense to do that, whether it be a HELOC or home equity loan or cash out refi? And is that really the best way to go about starting my real estate portfolio?
Okay, great question. I have a number of years. This reminds me of a question I had a number of years ago from two of our clients that we worked with at Morris Invest. It was a young couple outside of Philadelphia, in the Manayunk area of Philadelphia. Great little area. They had a townhome they bought when they were first married. Well, now they were having children, and so the little townhome in Manayunk didn't really suit their needs anymore, so they moved. They were planning to move, or they did move, actually. They kept this townhome as a rental property. And they asked my advice on that townhome, and we ran the numbers. But what they thought that they were basically kind of breaking even with this townhome that they held, right? And the thing is, what happens is people will hold on to these things because it's they've got an emotional connection to the townhome. They've got an emotional connection to this property. So first, Carl, what I want to say to you is, do you have an emotional connection to this property? Do the numbers make sense? Okay. Might it make more sense for you to sell this property altogether and actually, rethink your whole strategy? Okay. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know your numbers and I don't know your situation. So just make sure that emotion is not tied to this townhome. It was for this couple that I'm telling you about. They held this townhome and it was basically breaking even. That's what they told me. So then on the phone, we actually started going through the numbers together. And it turns out, after I included taxes, which they didn't include in the number, and their overall ROI, their return on this an investment, because they're still paying a mortgage on it, that in fact, they were losing money every month on this townhome. The only reason they kept it is because they had an emotional connection to it. It was their first townhome. Well, their family was expanding. They were never going to move back into this townhome. Right? So it's like holding on to nostalgia for no reason. They're never going to ever move back into this townhome unless they got divorced and he was like, I'm going to go move back into the townhome, right? But that's not going to happen. So they held this thing. It was not producing. And I said, look, if this property were mine, I'd be calling up a realtor today and I would be getting it listed. And I would take the profit from this property, right? And I would consider rolling it into a 1031 exchange and looking for other like kind properties where I would actually get a return on investment. So that's what they did. They ended up selling that townhome and they rolled it into like 3 properties. They were able to use that cash to buy down payments on 3 properties that weren't in Philadelphia. And I told them, I said, the numbers are not going to make sense in Philadelphia, like for you to buy a single family home. And I don't know what the situation is in Baltimore, my dad's home city of Baltimore. Steamed crabs, my favorite food in the entire world, by the way, in Baltimore, and the eastern shore of Maryland. So I don't know what the current situation is to get a single family or a duplex in Baltimore that would actually generate cash flow and that is going to be a great asset for you. You might think about selling that townhome and repositioning that cash outside of the state of Maryland and into other investment vehicles that are going to produce a higher return on investment, are going to be in better landlord-friendly states. Maryland is a blue state, of course, right? And it is not very landlord-friendly. So you just need to be careful about where you're buying rental properties. I know it's in your backyard and that people get attracted to the idea of the backyard purchase. Just be very, very careful about that. So perhaps looking at that townhome, if you're planning on keeping it though, and the cash flow is good, then yes, and it's paid off, a home equity line of credit would be the way that I personally would like to go to pull out the equity of that property. I'm not a fan of cash out refinances. I've said that repeatedly here on the show, because then you're getting a check you're just getting a check. And now the interest rate starts right then. With a home equity line of credit, it's a revolving credit line like a credit card. And you can keep it and use it for 10 years. You can continue to use the equity as you pay it down and buy other properties. But it sounds like you're going to use that equity to buy a primary residence for you to live in. So again, that's not going to be a cash flowing situation. But yeah, to me, a home equity line of credit would be the way to go to pull the equity out of that property, to use that going forward. But again, if the numbers don't make sense, holding it as a rental property, you might consider selling it and then buying a rental property out of state in a landlord friendly state. And again, our team can help you with that if you're interested. We can talk you through that on the phone too and help you out with this. And even if we can't work with you on that, we'll point you in the right direction and hopefully you'll find it useful. So again, if you have any questions related to financing, real estate, taxes, motivation, financial freedom, it all doesn't matter. You can go to our website at morrisinvest.com. Click on the little microphone icon and leave us a voicemail message. And of course, while you're there, we have tons of great resources on our website. You can book a call with our team for free if you're ready to actually buy a full service rental piece of real estate. That's what our team does. Build brand new construction from the ground up, working with our property management teams, placing a great tenant in the property and cash flowing as part of your rental portfolio. So that's what we do, but we have tons of great blog resources and all sorts of other things on our website. So MORRIS invest.com is the place to go. And we will see you next time, everyone. Take care.